The sun had set gently over the savannah, painting the horizon in soft shades of rose and orange. The tall grass swayed in the evening breeze, and the sky slowly filled with the first twinkling stars. In a cozy clearing near a cluster of acacia trees lived a little elephant named Ellie. Ellie was small for her age, with big floppy ears and a curious trunk that always wiggled when she was excited. Tonight, her trunk wouldn't stay still at all, because this was a very special night. For the very first time, Ellie wasn't going to sleep in her own little nook under the acacia tree. She was going to her very first sleepover. Her best friend, Lila the giraffe, had invited her to spend the night in a tall grove where all the young animals gathered sometimes. There would be soft grasses to lie on, twinkling fireflies to watch, and stories whispered under the stars. Ellie's tummy fluttered with excitement, but also with something else, something that felt a little like butterflies. She looked at her favorite blanket, a piece of soft woven grass her mama had made, and tucked it carefully under her arm. "I'll be brave," she whispered to herself, her trunk curling shyly. "It's just one night away from home." The fireflies floated lazily through the air as Ellie padded along the path, her little feet thumping softly on the ground. The night felt magical, crickets sang their lullabies, frogs croaked by the water's edge, and the stars blinked brighter as though they were guiding her steps. When she reached the grove, she saw it glowing with life. Lantern-beetles hung from branches, their lights swaying gently like warm lanterns. A ring of young animals lay on the soft grass: Lila the giraffe, Milo the monkey, Tessa the tortoise, and even Nia the zebra, who had brought a bundle of striped pillows. They all looked up when Ellie arrived, their eyes bright with welcome. "You made it," Lila called happily, her long neck bending down to nuzzle Ellie. "We've been waiting for you." Ellie's cheeks warmed with relief. She set her blanket down beside the others and smiled softly. "It's my first sleepover," she admitted shyly. Milo the monkey grinned and tumbled over. "Then we'll make it the coziest one ever." The young animals giggled together, settling in closer. The grove felt safe, wrapped in the hum of night and the glow of the lantern-beetles. Ellie snuggled onto her blanket, her heart calmer now. Above them, the stars twinkled brighter, as if they, too, wanted to join the first sleepover of a little elephant named Ellie. The night air was warm and gentle as Ellie tucked herself onto her soft blanket, the glow of the lantern-beetles swaying above like tiny stars on strings. Around her, her friends were already chattering happily, their voices blending with the sound of the cricket's song. Ellie's heart fluttered again, this time with excitement rather than nerves. Lila the giraffe stretched her long neck high and pointed with her nose toward the sky. "Look, the stars are brighter tonight. Maybe they came to watch our sleepover." Nia the zebra laughed softly, arranging her striped pillows in a neat little pile. "Then we'd better give them a good show, lots of stories and fun." Milo the monkey tumbled onto his back, his tail flicking playfully as he grinned. "I'll start. Did you know I once tried to swing from 2 trees at once? I thought I'd fly like a bird, but instead I landed in the river with a splash." The young animals burst into giggles, the sound echoing through the grove. Ellie covered her mouth with her trunk, her ears wiggling as she laughed along. Tessa the tortoise lifted her head slowly from her cozy patch of grass. Sleepovers are for more than just stories. They're for feeling safe together, even when the night is dark. I always bring my favorite stone with me. She showed them a smooth pebble tucked beneath her shell. It reminds me of home. Ellie looked down at her woven grass blanket, her cheeks warming with a smile. I brought my blanket. My mama made it for me. She ran her trunk gently over its soft threads. And suddenly, she didn't feel so far from home after all. Lila nudged closer, her long legs folding as she sat beside Ellie. See? You brought a piece of home with you, too. That's what makes it special. The fireflies above blinked brighter, swirling lazily in patterns as if dancing to the laughter below. The grove filled with warmth, not just from the glowing lights, but from the cozy feeling of friends sharing the night. Soon, Milo began humming a silly tune, and Nia added claps with her hooves, making everyone laugh again. Ellie's nervous butterflies had fluttered away completely now, replaced with a steady calm. She tucked her trunk under her chin, her big ears drooping gently, and whispered, "This really is magical." The stars above twinkled in reply, and though they agreed, the sleepover had only just begun. And already, Ellie felt wrapped in the kind of comfort that only comes when friends share a night together. The grove grew quieter as the night deepened, the lantern-beetles swaying lazily, their glow softening into a golden hush. The circle of young animals huddled closer together, their giggles fading into gentle whispers. A cool breeze rustled through the tall grass, carrying the scent of wildflowers and the faint sweetness of fruit left hanging on the trees. Ellie nestled into her blanket, her trunk curled comfortably across it, her big ears folding softly against the night air. She felt safe now, more than she ever expected. Her heart no longer fluttered nervously. Instead, it beat in a slow, steady rhythm, matching the calm hum of the crickets. "Who wants to tell the next story?" Nia the zebra asked, her voice soft but playful. Lila the giraffe smiled, her long neck bending gracefully as she gazed at the sky. "I'll tell one. My mama once said the stars are like little lanterns that animals hang in the sky to keep watch while we sleep. Every star belongs to someone who wants us to dream sweetly." The others sighed happily, their eyes drifting upward. Ellie whispered, "Do you think one of them is watching me tonight?" "Of course," Lila said gently. "Look, see that one twinkling just above us? That's your star, Ellie." Ellie's golden brown eyes widened as she stared at the tiny star sparkling brighter than the others. A warm glow filled her chest. She tucked herself closer into her blanket, whispering, "Then I'll dream under my star tonight." Milo the monkey, never still for long, gently picked up a small twig and traced shapes in the dirt. "Then I'll tell you a silly tale," he said with a grin. "Once, I dreamed I could juggle coconuts. But every time I caught one, it turned into a balloon and floated away. Soon, I was chasing balloons into the clouds." The friends chuckled softly, the sound more like a purr than a laugh. Tessa the tortoise shook her head, smiling. "Dreams are funny that way. They bring you things you never expect, but they always make you feel something gentle." Ellie yawned then, a soft, squeaky sound that made everyone smile. She curled onto her side, her blanket tucked close, her trunk resting across it like a pillow. "I like hearing stories before sleep," she murmured. "They make me feel warm inside." The fireflies swirled above them in slow, steady patterns, their glow dimming and brightening as though they were telling a story of their own. The grove's hush deepened into a lullaby, the frogs croaked softly by the stream, the crickets hummed steadily, and the branches above whispered with the breeze. One by one, the young animals stretched and yawned. Milo curled into a ball of fur and tail, Nia rested her head on her striped pillows, Tessa tucked her shell closer to the earth, and Lila folded her long legs neatly as she bent her neck down near Ellie. And Ellie, the little elephant who had been so nervous, now felt only cozy. Her eyelids grew heavy, her star twinkled brightly above, and the warmth of her friends surrounded her like a second blanket. She whispered into the quiet, "Maybe sleepovers aren't scary at all. Maybe they're where the best dreams begin." The grove was wrapped in a deep, hushed calm now, the kind of quiet that feels like a blanket being tucked gently around the world. The lantern-beetles' glow had softened into tiny pools of golden light, and the fireflies drifted slowly above, their movements no longer playful but steady, like little guardians in the sky. Ellie's eyelids grew heavier, but she kept them open just enough to see her friends gathered close. Milo was already snoring softly, his tail curled like a ribbon around his body. Tessa breathed deeply, her shell rising and falling in the gentlest rhythm. Nia had nestled into her striped pillows, her ears flicking only when a breeze passed. And Lila, tall and graceful even in rest, had lowered her head so near to Ellie that her breath brushed against the little elephant's blanket like a soft lullaby. Ellie's heart filled with a warmth she hadn't expected. At home, she always felt safe under her acacia tree with her blanket and her mama close by. But here she felt something new. A safety that came not from being alone, but from being together. Her trunk wiggled softly as she whispered, "I think this might be the coziest night of all." As if to answer her, a soft twinkle spread across the sky. The stars above began to shimmer in patterns, forming shapes that looked almost like pictures. Ellie blinked slowly, her eyes dreamy as she thought she saw the shapes of animals, an owl spreading its wings, a rabbit hopping, and even something that looked like a tiny elephant, trunk lifted toward the moon. "Do you see that?" she whispered sleepily to Lila. The giraffe opened her eyes halfway, her voice barely more than a sigh. "Yes, the stars are making dreams for us." The words wrapped around Ellie like honey, sweet and calming. She yawned again, curling closer into her blanket, and imagined those glowing shapes drifting down to join her in her dreams. The night sang its soft song, the crickets hummed in steady time, the frogs croaked a low, soothing tune, and the grass rustled in waves like whispered goodnights. The air was cool, but Ellie didn't feel a hint of chill. With her blanket beneath her, her star above her, and her friends all around, she felt warmer than ever. Her eyes finally closed, her breath slowing until they matched the rhythm of the grove itself. Yet even as she slipped into the edges of sleep, her heart whispered, "This is what it feels like to belong." And the honey moon above, round and silver, seemed to glow just a little brighter, as though smiling down at Ellie's very first sleepover, proud of her bravery and her gentle heart. Ellie drifted deeper into the quiet, her breath slow and steady, her trunk resting lightly on her soft blanket. Around her, the grove had grown so calm it felt like the whole world was asleep together. The lantern-beetles glowed faintly, as though even their lights were yawning. As the fireflies floated in dreamy circles, their glow pulsing gently like a heartbeat. As Ellie slipped into her dreams, something magical began to happen. The starlight above shimmered and seemed to bend, trickling down like silver rain until it touched the grove. The golden glow of the lantern-beetles mixed with it, wrapping the little circle of friends in a soft cocoon of light. Without waking, Milo snuggled closer to his own tail, Nia sighed contentedly against her striped pillows, Tessa tucked her head into her shell, and Lila lowered her neck a little more so her cheek brushed Ellie's blanket. In their dreams, they were still together. Ellie blinked in the dream world, her eyes wide with wonder. The grove had transformed into a glowing meadow where the grass shimmered like crystal threads and the flowers glowed in every color of the rainbow. The air smelled of fresh fruit and warm blossoms. And above them, the stars shone closer, like lanterns hanging from low branches. Lila lifted her long neck and gasped softly. "It's a dream meadow." Milo flipped and twirled through the glowing grass, giggling. "Look at me. I can jump higher here than ever before." He leapt so high that he almost brushed a star with his paw. Nia pranced gracefully across the meadow, leaving glowing hoofprints behind her. "It's like the earth itself is joining our sleepover," she said, her voice dreamy and light. Tessa ambled toward a glowing stream that sparkled like melted moonlight. "Even the water looks like it wants us to rest," she murmured, dipping her nose into the glow. Ellie stood still for a moment, her ears flopping softly, her trunk curling against her chest. She realized something important then. It wasn't just the grove that made her safe, it was her friends. Whether awake or dreaming, she was never truly alone. The dream meadow swirled with gentle colors, the flowers swaying to a silent lullaby. The friends gathered together once more, lying in a soft circle on the shimmering grass. Above them, the stars twinkled in rhythm, like the night itself was breathing with them. Ellie sighed happily, laying her head on her blanket in both dream and reality. "This is the coziest night of all," she whispered. Her friends nodded sleepily in the dream, their voices like whispers in the wind. "Yes, the coziest." The meadow hushed, the glow dimmed to silver. And the dream carried them all deeper, wrapping them in the quietest kind of magic, the kind that stays even after the dream fades. The night grew so still that it seemed the whole world was holding its breath, keeping watch over Ellie and her friends. The grove lay blanketed in silence, the lantern-beetles glowed dim to tiny golden embers and the fireflies drifting slower, their lights pulsing gently like the rhythm of a lullaby. The tall grass swayed no longer, it stood perfectly still, as if even the breeze had paused to let the little animals rest. Ellie snuggled deeper into her woven blanket, her trunk curled softly across it. Her ears drooped in the most peaceful way, resting against the mossy ground. She felt the warmth of her friends all around her, Milo's soft snores, Nia's quiet sighs, Tessa's steady breaths. And Lila's long neck stretched protectively near her side. The circle they formed together was like a cocoon, a safe nest of friendship under the watchful gaze of the stars. Above them, the sky seemed to bend closer, the stars twinkling not with their usual sparkle but with a softer glow. They weren't faraway lights anymore, they were like sleepy lanterns peeking through the branches, humming gently as if they wanted to share their own dreams. The honeymoon, round and silver, poured its glow over the grove like a blanket of light, tucking Ellie and her friends in without a single word. Ellie drifted deeper, her dream carrying her farther than before. In the dream meadow, the grass had turned to silver threads, sparkling beneath her little feet. She walked slowly, her blanket trailing behind her like a cape. Each step she took left a faint glow, as if the earth wanted to remember her presence. Around her, her friends walked too, not hurried but moving gently, their eyes filled with wonder. The stars in the dream world leaned lower, forming gentle constellations shaped like animals, an owl spreading its wings, a zebra galloping slowly across the sky, a tortoise curled in perfect peace, a monkey swinging lazily, and even a tiny elephant with big ears and a playful trunk. Ellie's eyes softened when she saw it. She realized the stars weren't just lights, they were reflections of their cozy circle in the grove. The dream meadow pulsed gently with light. Flowers opened with a sound softer than a sigh, their petals glowing in hues of lavender, rose, and pale gold. Each flower seemed to hum faintly, not with words but with feelings. "You are safe, you are loved, you belong." Ellie curled down into the glowing grass, her trunk resting across her blanket, her eyes fluttering closed even in the dream. Her friends curled around her one by one, their shapes forming the same circle as they had in the real grove. The dream and the night became one, both holding them steady, both whispering the same quiet promise: "Rest now, little ones. The world will keep watch while you sleep." Back in the grove, Ellie let out the faintest sigh. Her breath slowed, her body softened, and she sank into the deepest, sweetest rest. Around her, the fireflies glowed dimmed until they looked like tiny stars hovering close, the lantern-beetles swayed gently as if rocking the night to sleep, and the tall trees stretched their branches like a roof of comfort above the little circle of animals. The night itself seemed to lean closer, whispering not just to Ellie, but to every child listening to her story: "You are safe. You are warm. You are loved. And your dreams are waiting for you tonight." The crickets hummed one final lullaby, the frogs croaked a sleepy tune, and the whole grove sank into silence. The honeymoon smiled down, steady and bright, and the stars blinked their slow, patient blink, promising to keep watch until morning. And there, beneath the soft glow of the sky, Ellie the little elephant, at her very first sleepover, slept soundly and peacefully, her heart wrapped in warmth, her dreams painted with stars, and her night made magical by the simple coziness of friendship.